As Damien was struck by the lightning and fell to the ground, Brian and Wendy watched in shock. The evil mage leader, who had exhausted all his mana, was breathing heavily. He chuckles to himself, saying he had did it, as Damien's roasted body laid on the ground not moving at all. With his final attack, his teammates congratulated him, calling him Park Mandu. The evil mage tells his team that he told them he could do it, but their celebration was abruptly interrupted by a sharp sound. Suddenly, one of the mages who had praised the leader had their head brutally severed. More heads were cut in half as the evil mage was confused by what was happening right now, and the leader looked toward the source of the sound that said that it hurt a little, with fear filling his eyes. He muttered in disbelief that it was impossible, but then he saw Damien standing there. With a confident smile, Damien questioned the leader's claim of impossibility, catching him off guard. Damien commended the leader for being clever and having good instincts. As the mage leader attempted to cast a spell, Damien swiftly sliced off his arms, causing him to writhe in agonizing pain and fall to the ground as he tells him that he shouldn't have fooled around so much. Damien stood over him, telling him not to do what he was thinking of, as he can't run away now. Licking his blade with blood, Damien stated his belief in repaying kindness 100-fold and seeking revenge with a force 1,000 times stronger was his creed. Tears streamed down the mage leader's face as he pleaded with Damien not to come any closer, but only a desperate cry echoed through the area. Brian, who had intended to attack Damien, was stunned by the gruesome scene before him. Wendy turned away, unable to bear witness, expressing her disbelief. Brian looked at the defeated mage leader and questioned if Damien had gone too far, realizing the extent of Damien's evil nature. The mage leader begged for mercy, apologizing for his actions. Damien poured an elixir on him, initiating the healing process, only to resume pummeling the mage once again, claiming that it would be even more satisfying to beat him up after healing him. Finally, after a long and grueling battle, Damien looked down at the lifeless body of the evil mage leader, taking a deep breath and remarking that it had taken a while. Amidst the aftermath, Damien heard a series of notifications and glanced at the dead mage, wondering why he had engaged in a fight he knew he couldn't win. As Damien reviewed the notifications, he discovered that he had committed a PK, player kill, resulting in a decrease in his alignment. Among the notifications, Damien found that he had acquired a significant number of items, including 184 toothless daggers, 209 beginner's t-shirts, 113 coarse leather leggings, and 98 staffs made of old wood. He also stumbled upon a wilderness ring, unsure of its purpose, and wondered if he could eat it. Damien was surprised by something insane when he encountered a new notification informing him that he had obtained 3429325 gold. Overwhelmed by the shock, Damien realized that this amount of gold was equivalent to $3,000 to $4,000. Excited by his newfound wealth, Damien contemplated selling the gold immediately. He accessed the GameBank's selling feature and promptly posted a message advertising the sale of his 3 million gold. Offering it at a reasonable price, Damien requested interested parties to leave him a message. Within moments, Damien was inundated with messages from potential buyers, all eager to strike a deal. One person even inquired about negotiations. Thrilled with the response, Damien deliberated on which buyer to choose. After careful consideration, he made a decision and selected a buyer, triggering a notification confirming the completion of the transaction. To Damien's surprise, his rank had changed from normal to VIP, thanks to the GameBank's quick and efficient service. Another notification revealed that the total selling price amounted to 35,610,001, making Damien realize that his AC account was his future. Overjoyed by his success, Damien shouted with glee, "AC is the future." In Cambridge, Massachusetts, a man named Alan Jacobs, the CEO of the leading MCN enterprise and internet streaming platform called Switch, stood near a large glass window in a building, relishing the taste of his coffee. Suddenly, he heard a voice asking if the president was present in the room. A worker entered and informed him that the chief operating officer, William Ballmore, was seeking him. Alan confirmed his readiness and asked the worker to let William in. Once William entered and settled on the sofa, Alan warmly welcomed him and inquired about his well-being, noticing his positive demeanor. Alan chuckled and expressed gratitude to William, stating his curiosity regarding the reason for his visit. After Alan inquired about the news, William asked if Alan knew about AC, to which Alan responded that it was a popular trending game among their streamers. William handed Alan his tablet, revealing the most popular clip of the week, leaving Alan astonished. William suggested the idea of acquiring a fresh perspective streamer and asked Alan if he believed it would be a fantastic business venture. Meanwhile, back in the game world, Damien called his mom and informed her that he had sent some money to her account. He also mentioned receiving a bonus. However, his mom replied that he should not have sent the money since he didn't have much for himself. Damien brushed off her comment and assured her that he would visit her soon. After ending the call, he looked at his virtual screen and contemplated investing the rest of his money. Due to the recent popularity of AC and Evertail, the cryptocurrency market had experienced a significant surge over the past decade. Damien decided to leverage this trend to establish a stable financial foundation. He considered investing 3 million won in one of the cryptocurrency future option stocks. However, as soon as he clicked on the buy option, he received multiple notifications about the cryptocurrency's sharp decline and loss rate. In just 3 seconds, he lost all of his money due to a forceful liquidation of his assets. Damien was shocked and frustrated as he revisited the fluctuation chart, only to receive notifications about the increased leverage rate of Bitcoin's future options. Damien realized that someone had interfered with his investment, and with tears streaming down his face, he understood that he now only had AC left. In Changchun City, Jilin Province, China, at the Jingsan Startup Business Factory, an employee rushed into the room with a worried expression. The CEO, Mingchen, was lighting a cigarette and asked the employee what was so urgent. The employee reported that something bad had happened and the game bank had just revealed that 3 million gold had appeared. Mingchen was shocked and dropped his lighter, asking if the news was real. The employee confirmed that it was and showed him the proof. Mingchen was angry as he stares at the tablet knowing that it had been 2 weeks since he joined the gaming company called AC. He had invested a lot of time and money into AC, taking care of all the operational equipment with a huge investment from a higher-up he knew and even purchasing a large amount of the Galaxy M24 apps capsules. However, the news of the 3 million gold sales was a significant setback. Mingchen slams his fist on the table as that the amount of gold exceeded the output of Jingsan. He holds his head in anger thinking that an individual, not a company, had made that much. The single sale price was also the best, which meant that if more people like him kept appearing, then AC Gold's market price would drop dramatically. Mingchen smacked his table in frustration and exclaimed, "What the hell?" as he tried to figure out how to deal with this unexpected turn of events. He hit the employee on the head with the tablet and demanded to know why he hadn't been told earlier and if he planned to bankrupt him. The employee tried to explain, but Mingchen cut him off with a shout, ordering him to find out who was responsible. Mingchen was worried about the future of Jingsan and realized that it was only a matter of time before he went bankrupt and couldn't repay his investment. He then ordered the employee to find out who this person was, and the employee ran out to fulfill his boss's orders. A boat is sailing in the sea as someone yells they were setting sail now. Damien lay on a boat that had already sailed, reflecting on the island he had just left. It was filled with many twists and turns, but thanks to a guy named Park Mandu, he acquired a lot of valuable materials. Damien opened his inventory and contemplated disassembling some items. Notifications popped up one after another of his successful attempts. After a successful item disassembly, he was pleased to find that he had acquired 8 low-grade iron. With this much material, he realized he could make more money than other users still on the island. His efforts had also paid off in terms of experience points, as he had gained multiple levels and reached level 20. Damien thought about how the effect of atrocity had helped him level up a lot and decided to take a look at his status. He was a witch doctor with no affiliation and very low alignment. He had the title of Atrocity, the one who defeated the wild boar alone and the agent of revenge. His stats were impressive, especially intelligence, which was above 50, and with strength, HP, agility, talent, and luck all being over 10. Damien had no stat points remaining, but he was satisfied with his progress. Damien pondered over his current skill set, wondering whether he should invest in any other skills. He opened the skill window to take a look at his options. Among the skills listed were shooting poison darts, controlling the dead, bloody impulse, corrupted elixir, voodoo doll, and zombification. He read the description of bloody impulse, which he had already invested in and reached level 5. It had the attribute of blood and could increase a target's attack and movement speed by 100% for 100 seconds while consuming 1% of the target's stamina per second. He then moved on to corrupted elixir, which he had also invested in and reached level 3. It had the attribute of poison and allowed him to throw a special elixir that would inflict 90% physical damage. Once hit, the target would also suffer 140% magic damage for 330 seconds, while their defense decreased by 20%. Lastly, Damien examined controlling the dead, which had the attribute of summoning and allowed him to summon applicable dead monsters at 50% of their stats. The number of summons would be proportionate to his magic power. He also looked at Voodoo Doll, which had the attribute of a curse and required him to consume an item and curse his target. Every time he stabbed the doll, his target's stamina would drop by 1%. Damien wasn't particularly impressed with these skills, especially Control the Dead, which could only summon weaker monsters such as chicks or chickens. Voodoo Doll also seemed impractical, as he would need to carry a doll item around. Nevertheless, he knew that these skills might come in handy one day. Suddenly, a notification popped up, breaking his train of thought. It informed him that information about a new location had been updated. Damien looked ahead with a smile, realizing that he was finally going to a new location. The notification also informed him that the world map had been updated. Damien looked at the view and couldn't wait to start his journey in the main continent. The ship's captain bid farewell to Damien, and Damien replied with a thank you and looked ahead, taking in a familiar view. He recognized that the location he was at was one of the liveliest kingdoms on the eastern part of the Arcia continent, the center of the eastern side, Terra. As Damien walked, he saw many public notifications from other players requesting to team up for quests, grinding, and recruitments. He thought to himself that it was just as he remembered. Even though there were so many people, no one had noticed his disposition. Damien then saw 3 people standing in the middle of the street, shouting out that they were recruiting people who wanted to raid a dungeon right now. They also mentioned that they treated healers favorably and were looking for temporary mercenaries for 1 week. They would provide meals and lodging. Damien commented that guild recruitment was also the same, but suddenly he changed his thoughts and started looking for the place he had been searching. Finally, he spotted the familiar sign that marked the entrance to the Adventurers Guild. Pushing his way through the throngs of people, he made his way to the front desk where several others were discussing their schedules and requests. Realizing that he was running out of time, Damien squeezed past them as he had no time to waste if he wanted to make his application today. The manager of the Adventurers Guild in Terra Kingdom, Hat-san, called out to Maria and asked her to bring him all the adventurer applications from that day. Maria saluted and replied with an affirmative answer. While Hat-san was busy, Damien called out to him with a greeting. Hat-san looked a little frustrated at first, but Damien continued and confidently stated that he would like to get a license. Hat-san was visibly happy when Damien called him by his name and remarked that he looked like a new adventurer with good eyes who had taken the time to research him. Damien replied that he should be at least that aware if he wanted to be a mercenary. Hat-san agreed with him and thought to himself about the Adventurers Guild, its branches throughout the Arcia continent, and how it was a facility that all NPCs and adventurers utilized. He also noted that there were some people who paid to make requests and others who did the requests to make money. The Adventurers Guild's main job was to mediate between the two parties, but there weren't many people who utilized this feature properly. However, Hat-san thought that Damien was quite quick to catch on. Hat-san then confirmed with Damien that a license was needed to do that sort of work. Damien replied that he had heard as much. Hat-san then asked if Damien wanted to apply right away, to which Damien replied with an enthusiastic yes. Hat-san explained to Damien that in order to become an adventurer, one needs to take a simple test that involves 10 stages in an arena behind the lobby. Depending on the stage you pass, you will be assigned a tier. Damien asked if Hat-san thought that he should come back after preparing himself if he wanted a high grade, and Hat-san confirmed that it is normal to take a couple of days to prepare. However, Damien surprised Hat-san by insisting on taking the test right away, saying that he didn't think there would be much of a difference after preparation. Hat-san warned him that the test would be difficult to prepare for, but Damien was confident in his skills and insisted on taking the test immediately. Hat-san was impressed by Damien's confidence and led him to the arena. As Damien walked, a notification popped up in front of him, detailing the Adventurers Guild License Exam quest, which required him to prove his skills by passing the exam. The quest was classified as epic, and the reward was the Adventurers Guild license. Damien smiled while reading the quest info and thought it had been a while since he had taken a test. He followed Hat-san to the arena, and as soon as he entered the arena, he saw a large crowd of people waiting there to take the exam. Maria's voice echoed through the air as she announced through her megaphone that adventurers from numbers 301 to 400 should get ready for their exam. Excitement filled the air as the participants started preparing themselves for what was to come. Hat-san placed his hand on Damien's shoulder and wished him luck. Damien nodded and replied with gratitude. Soon, a gate opened in the arena, and Damien recognized it as a summon gate, a masterpiece created by Master Arceus from the Monster Mage's Tower. Damien marveled at its beauty and wondered what creatures lay beyond the gate. Maria's voice boomed once more, announcing that the exam area was beyond the gate. She explained that the adventurers would have to defeat the summon monsters to pass each of the 10 stages. If they couldn't continue anymore, all they had to do was shout, "I forfeit." One of the players raised a question, asking Maria if the monsters were real. Maria responded, explaining that the monsters were an illusion created by the guild mages. She then added that there wasn't much difference between the illusion and reality, considering that most of the Adventurers Guild requests were related to monsters anyway. Damien thought to himself that it was a practical method. Maria smiled and announced that they would begin the exam. As she spoke, the gate closed, surprising the players who were still waiting for their turn. They wondered aloud if the exam had started already. Outside the gate, screams and shouts could be heard from the players who had already entered. Finally, Damien muttered to himself, asking if it had begun. Voices could be heard from inside the gate, shouting and commanding the players to kill the monsters. The players waiting for their turn were shocked and worried by what they heard. They wondered if it was dangerous to enter the summon gate. Maria reassured everyone that it was just an illusion and there was no need to be scared. She then announced that it was time for the next batch of participants, numbers 401 to 500, to get ready for the exam. The players were surprised that their turn had come so quickly. Damien started stretching his shoulders, preparing himself for the upcoming challenge. Another player expressed concern, asking if they were all trying to kill them. Maria reassured them that it was just an exam, and they needed to clear the monsters to proceed to the next stage. She added that those who weren't happy with the testing method could leave the testing area but would lose their adventurer's license. One of the players expressed determination to continue, saying that they were sure everything would be fine. Another added that since it was just a game, they could die and come back in 60 hours. Maria then pointed towards the summon gate and questioned with a grin, ready to start the next exam. She gave the signal to begin, and the players entered the gate. Inside, an announcement greeted them, informing them of the rules for the exam. There were a total of 10 stages, and in each stage, the players had to defeat all the monsters to move on to the next area. If they wanted to forfeit, they could raise their hand and shout, "I give up." Solo examinees who failed to defeat a monster would automatically be eliminated. The clock was ticking, and the players had only 9 minutes and 59 seconds left until the next test. Damien surveyed his surroundings, taking note of the 10 people present in the testing area. He didn't recognize any of them. Just then, an announcement blared, signaling the start of the exam. Damien felt frustrated with the lack of information provided. He had expected a battle royale system where the participants would fight each other, but it seemed like that wasn't going to happen. One of the players voiced their confusion, wondering if they were supposed to work together to clear the exam. Another player responded in agreement. Meanwhile, Umju expressed her fear to her teammate, prompting Umju's husband to reassure her and promise her that he would make sure they leave quickly. After the announcement, a user named Gentle-Mannered Guy approached some of the players and greeted them with a smile. He introduced himself and suggested that they work together to clear the exam. He mentioned that it was said that when you brush up against someone, it's fate and that they should help each other. Gentle-Mannered Guy then pointed out that if they cleared the last stage, they would start as a silver tier instead of an iron tier. The other players were surprised by this information. Damien, who was observing the situation, noticed that Gentle-Mannered Guy had a rare and expensive 5-piece set of full iron armor and concluded that he had spent a lot of money on the game. Gentle-Mannered Guy introduced his party members, who he had been playing with since the open beta. He suggested that they all work together to clear the exam, to which the others agreed happily. Damien observed the scene, noting that Gentle-Mannered Guy's social skills were above average. He wondered if his tongue was his true weapon. After introducing his party members, Gentle-Mannered Guy noticed a woman with a mask whom he hadn't met yet. He greeted her and suggested that they work together. However, the woman didn't respond and gave him a cold look. Gentle tried again, but the woman interrupted him and told him to stop spouting nonsense. She refused to be in a party with a bunch of idiots and told Gentle to get lost. Gentle was taken aback by the woman's harsh words and questioned her if she was being too harsh. But the woman ignored him and looked away while saying that she had no idea what this gigolo-looking guy was saying. Suddenly, the announcement sounded, saying that the next test would begin soon. Everyone was surprised by the announcement, and a portal opened up from which goblins started to enter. Gentle-Mannered Guy warned everyone that the monsters were coming and to prepare for battle. The players agreed, with one player expressing enthusiasm to give it a try, and another suggesting that they fight together to earn a high tier. Gentle-Mannered Guy scoffed at the standards of the Adventurers Guild, believing that they were not high enough if they gave everyone a license. Suddenly, a dart flew by Gentle-Mannered Guy's face and hit a goblin. The goblin flew back and cried out in pain. As Gentle saw the goblin's corpse disappear, he was confused and asked what had just happened. But the next second, he was surprised to see Damien charging toward the goblins with his fists. As Damien smashed goblins with his fists, Gentle-Mannered Guy asked him what he was doing, but Damien ignored him and began to slaughter the goblins. As the goblins were defeated, notifications popped up, indicating the number of illusionary goblins that had been defeated. Damien stood victorious, and the other players looked on in surprise at the dead goblin corpses. Soon, an announcement was made that the first stage had finished, and the test results would be announced. The results revealed that Damien had earned 10 points and informed all the players that the second stage would soon begin. Damien continued walking towards the next gate, ignoring Gentle-Mannered Guy's angry outburst. Gentle seethed in frustration, feeling like his plans to monopolize points had been ruined by Damien's actions. He shouted at Damien, calling him an immoral bastard and threatening violence. Damien just scratched his ears and responded with a clever remark about hearing a barking dog. He believed that the test was all about killing the most monsters and that the evaluation was based on fighting abilities, with the highest tier license going to the last survivor. Gentle, unable to contain his anger, swung his sword at Damien. Damien looked at Gentle with a calm face, unfazed by his sudden attack. He then quickly reacted by throwing an elixir bottle at Gentle's face, causing him to shout in pain and swing his sword blindly. Damien dodged the attacks with ease, recognizing that Gentle was not just acting desperately but was actually reading his presence and attacking accordingly. Damien realized that this was going to be a tougher challenge than he had initially thought, and he prepared himself for what was to come. Gentle turned towards his teammates and urged them to attack the enemy. The healer cast a cure spell on Gentle, while Roa attacked with Hawk's Eye, and Minky cast a fireball spell. Gentle smiled as he felt his vision getting clearer and prepared to attack Damien. Gentle then used his swordsman skill, Counterstrike. As Gentle swung his sword towards Damien, he disappeared and reappeared behind Gentle, kicking him in the back. Gentle flew back from the impact and fell down, and Damien ran towards the players' group and caught Ju in an arm lock, threatening them to try shooting if they could. And if they killed her, they would all die. Ju's husband pleaded with Damien to release her. Just then, Gentle got up from the ground and demanded that Ju's husband shoot at Damien. Ju's husband was confused and asked why Gentle was behaving so aggressively. Gentle became increasingly angry and insisted that Ju's husband attack him. However, Ju's husband was hesitant and worried, unable to bring himself to harm his own lover. As the situation became more tense, Ju's husband caught hold of Gentle's arm and begged him not to shoot. Gentle grew increasingly frustrated with Ju's husband and threw him back in annoyance, declaring that he was not an easy target. He then scolded his teammates for not obeying his command to shoot. As his teammates struggled to figure out what to do, Gentle grew angry and lashed out at them, calling them pathetic bastards who were incapable of taking action. In a fit of rage, Gentle swung his knife at Ju's husband, causing Ju to cry out in alarm. Gentle then turned his attention to Damien and Ju, attacking them both with his knife and shouting for them to just die. Despite Gentle's aggression, Damien remained unfazed, his face lighting up with a smile and his eyes glowing as he faced Gentle's attacks.